The Science of Fiction. My name's David.
I'm Dylan.
And together, we're the Wet Rats. If you are just tuning in, then hello. Hi. I started a second take, and I don't know why, because this sucks too. Today we're talking about Lord of the Rings. What we do on the show is we like to look at different fictional universes, and we're not here to like shit on these franchises or whatever. We're here to just talk about the things that don't really make sense, that don't really add up. And again, we don't mean that in like a negative way. Like everything we talk about on the show, we love. But some stuff in Lord of the Rings is kind of dumb, or silly, or nonsensical.
And a lot of franchises, really. There's
A lot of yeah. I just meant Lord of the Rings just since we're talking about that this week. But yeah, I feel like everybody like watches certain movies and shows and always is like, that was really good, but what about that one weird thing?
Right.
So that's kind of what our show is. We like to look at whatever that weird thing was, and we talk about it. I'm gonna be honest about this episode though. We might sound really dumb depending on how into Lord of the Rings people listening are. Just because, again, we like to look at things that don't really add up, don't really make sense. Probably everything in Tolkien stuff is explained somewhere.
Yeah.
But we aren't exactly experts.
We didn't read like the Cerulean or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, also we're going to get names wrong.
Yeah,
So
we're definitely going to get names wrong.
If you're like really, really passionate about Lord of the Rings, go easy on us.
Either a trigger warning or shut this off.
And that doesn't mean you can't correct us. Like if like we say like we don't know how this works and you do, let us know. We'd be happy to hear about it. Just go easy on us when you do.
We'll just tell you how big of a nerd you are when you do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we could just get started. Oh, first we should probably get to our email segment. All right, let's go ahead and get started now. Good emails, guys. Thanks. I think this is kind of... Oh, also, let me preface this really quick, too. We're focusing on the movies for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You read the books at some point?
Yeah, I've read
them.
It's been
a long time, right?
Yeah, because those are... Like, we had all of them on cassette tape or whatever that, and my mom read them to us when we were kids, but it's like been like since I was a kid. I read The Hobbit like at least once every year or so, but definitely Lord of the Rings because I don't know... Assuming if you guys are nerds and read the books, those books are boring as shit. They're fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. So we're pretty much talking about the movies. If there's a little bit of book knowledge that goes into it, maybe we might be able to pull that out. But pretty much we're talking about the movies here. And also, really just Lord of the Rings. Like, since we are talking about the universe in general, we might cite stuff from The Hobbit or whatever, but we're focusing on Lord of the Rings for now.
Yeah, pretty much. And Wikipedia.
And Wikipedia, of course. So this is something that is towards the end of the Lord of the Rings. But it's one of those things everybody brings up, so I feel like let's just address it. Let's get it out of the way.
Do Sam and Pippin and Frodo have an Hobbit orgy? Is that what you're talking about?
Is Merry not allowed to be in it?
He was watching.
Okay. I feel like Pippin would be the one stuck watching.
That's true.
They'd be like, Pippin, you be the cuck. You go sit in the corner.
Well, Gandalf watches us laughing.
Gandalf's so mean to Pippin.
He is.
I kind of forgot until I watched these movies. Like, he's such a dick.
He's a dick.
Anyways, though, sorry about that tangent. No, but the real question is about the Eagles. People always like to say, like, why didn't they just fly the Eagles to Mordor?
Why are they not in the Hall of Fame for rock and roll yet?
Right, yeah. Well, I think the Eagles probably are, right?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. But somebody has to have made a video on YouTube where the Eagles come and like they're like the Eagles are coming and the Eagles start playing.
I hope
that
so.
has to exist, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
But anyways, we're off to a good start here. No, but why didn't they fly to Mordor? People love to talk about this, and I think anybody that like knows Lord of the Rings really well, I mean, the obvious answer is they couldn't.
Yeah,
like they had to sneak. It's fine that the Eagles show up at the end because they show up in the final battle more out of desperation for like, fuck, we need any support, and the Eagles show up. And then they extract Sam and Frodo, but they can only go and extract them after the ring has been destroyed and Sauron's eye tower has fallen.
I mean, at the same time, even if you fly, I'm going to assume Mordor's still pretty far away.
Yeah.
And you have, like, the Nazgul. I don't remember if the Nazgul is the reefs or if it's the giant dragon thingies. But you have those giant flying dragon thingies.
No, the Nazgul are the race. And then I think they're called Fellbeasts?
Fellbeasts? Okay, sure. So you have their Fellbeasts, which, like, I'm going to go ahead and assume they probably have some sort of, like, air guard in Mordor. Because they're not going to be like,
oh, yeah,
we're
for
going
sure.
to do what we want to.
I mean, in the first movie, they're told to stay off the road. They get on the road for about 2 seconds to look at some mushrooms, and already a ring wraith shows up.
Yeah.
They're on the road for 2 seconds and a ring wraith shows up. I don't think they could have just flown.
No.
They would have been fucked. Sure, they would have had speed on their side, But again, the Wraiths have those fucking dragons.
Exactly, and those dragons are pretty fucking crazy looking.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. So yeah, I don't think that would have worked out too well. It's it's a funny thing people bring up. I get why they bring it up.
Yeah,
but they didn't really have much of a choice. I mean, at best they could have tried horses and boats and stuff, which they do briefly in the first one. But they were trying to stay off the road. So and also, I don't know if when they have the because horses are all normal horse size here, but hobbits are smaller.
Yes.
So I don't really think that on their own, Frodo and Sam could have successfully.
No, I mean they even start the journey off with Sam's pony, but they have to send it back after all because the pony's not going to make it. All the way. It's a fucking pony.
Yeah. So I guess that's it for that topic. But yeah. There you go. So the next topic
solved it.
Sorted. That's what we're here for. Anyways, next topic is just kind of the world in general, and it's it's interesting that the hobbits I think are so isolated from so much of the rest of the world. And you and me just talked about this. It makes sense because there are places like that on our actual planet as well, where there are cultures and civilizations or even just villages that are so unaware of the events of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Even in places with technology. We're from Kansas. There's people in small towns that don't have a fucking clue about what's going on in China or whatever. That's just a thing.
Sure, but I think the difference too on here though is the hobbits almost have developed their own entire culture, and the people who aren't aware what's going on in China are still kind of aware of China.
Sure.
Where sometimes I feel like the people hobbits are just don't. I mean, I'm sure they kind of know, but at the same time, have no desire to know anything beyond any of the Shire. I'm sure most of them don't know the names of places or other races and stuff because there's some instances where they're just shocked to see these other things oh my god, look, it's an actual elf, or oh my god, a dwarf. They're just
but it goes both ways because so many people are surprised to see a hobbit.
But that's all.
What the fuck is that?
I feel it's almost more or less the result of how long they've been just safeguarding their own little corner where they just don't care about anything else.
But I brought this up to you earlier, but what's funny about that to me is I get it from the hobbit's perspective. If you had only been in that village and basically only seen hobbits and things related to that area, and you see an ent or a cave troll, I get why you would be oh fuck.
Yeah.
But from the opposite perspective, if you're somebody that sees a hobbit for the first time, I don't understand why your reaction would be so confused, because hobbits look almost identical to men except smaller with big feet.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the movie says it, but I'm pretty sure the book mentions at least once or twice where hobbits often get mistaken for children.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I don't think people. I think most people see them, it's oh, there's kids, and then all of a sudden they're actually talking, it's oh shit, you're a hobbit.
Right, but that's why I don't understand when somebody like Treebird is oh, you must be orcs, because it's wouldn't you think if anything they were just kids? Because Treebird has definitely seen men before.
Right.
So I don't understand why he's so. In fact, a lot of the stuff in Lord of the Rings, other than the crazy monsters. And maybe it's just because the movies, because they have to have actors. Maybe the books they're meant to look more different. But elves just look like people that are taller and with pointy ears.
Yeah.
Dwarves look like
Tiny
people that are
penises.
shorter. Yeah. Men just look like men, and hobbits look like children or small men.
Yeah.
So none of that looks that different to the point where if I saw one of those, I'd be what the fuck is that? I'd just be oh, that looks like something I've seen before.
Right. I mean, even wizards look like men.
Exactly.
So
unless I get it if you see an orc, it'd be what the fuck? Because even if they're humanoid shaped, bipedal, 2 arms, 2 legs, it's still they look fucking weird.
Yeah.
That guy in fucking Return of the King that has the bad face and the gimp arm.
Right.
That guy, if I saw that guy, I'd be all right, that's something weird.
Maybe Peter
Pettigrew?
No, shit. Who's the director's name? I forgot his fucking name.
Oh, Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson. Maybe Peter Jackson got it really wrong in originally orcs are supposed to look just like men too.
Turns out that there's not a lot of variety.
Not a lot of variety.
That would be the stage play for Lord of the Rings. But yeah, it's keeping in line with the world, and so the hobbits have isolated themselves to this place, which makes a lot of sense because as soon as we leave the Shire in Lord of the Rings, we find out that the entire rest of the world fucking sucks.
And there's have been that shitty fucking war for ever, and races that their kingdoms are dying, and it just sounds like a shit place.
People have been corrupted. I mean, what? I don't even, other than just magic as the answer, I'm not even 100% sure how to explain what happened to Theoden.
Well, then because
he became a creepy old man, but then he gets magicked back to a normal
I mean, yeah,
looking
just I mean,
human.
look at Wormtongue alone. Like you're just like, ooh, gross. Like what's fucking Wormtongue?
That's one of those
I mean, wait,
situations.
who let a guy named Wormtongue into that throne room? First of
That's
all,
one of those situations where you wonder if like maybe that person could have grown up to have a normal life, but then he's like, shit, my name's Wormtongue. I don't really have any other options.
Kind of
here.
fucked.
Yeah.
Like what was he thinking? He was like, hey, sir, there's this guy named Wormtongue here. She's like, ah, sure, let him on in. Like, no, you never do that.
That's one of those things that's funny to me because, like, hey, I mean, you know, Tolkien invented all this crazy stuff, so he's a genius. He invented languages and fantasy basically as an entire genre. But he the best he could come up with is like Wormtongue. It's like
he's
talk
supposed
about on the nose, man.
And he's supposed to be like a saboteur spy. Like you couldn't come up with a more like less obvious
I
name.
mean, it's funny because people like to make fun of like George Lucas for stuff like Skywalker.
Yeah.
But hey, the guy who basically invented high fantasy, like he did that shit too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you know. And even people that have like more made up names, it's like, oh, this is Aragorn, son of Arathorn,
Yeah.
grandson of Ereblorn.
Ereblorn.
Like,
Grandson to Aaron Dorn.
what do you think? What do you think they're going to name his kid?
Aaron Bourne.
the hit sequel to Jason Bourne. But no, seriously. So, in just the first movie alone, I guess somewhat going into the second here, but outside of the Shire, they are on a fucking snowy mountain that's like cold and shit. There's the Nazgul everywhere. There's cave trolls, goblins, orcs, a fucking Balrog, a giant tentacle monster. Not sure what that's called. Then in the second one, the dead marshes, the big rock maze they get stuck in. Everywhere fucking sucks, and none of that is even close to Mordor. I mean,
Well, and like even what's the big fucking fire thingy?
the Balrog.
Balrog. That thing's just like there. Like it wasn't necessarily. I mean, maybe it was like probably sent by like Sauron or what fucking like that.
I think it's supposed to be like ancient.
Yeah, but it's like an ancient beast. It's like on the same level as like the wizards. That's why again I was like fighting kind of thing of that. And it's just there.
Yeah.
It's just like cool. I'm just gonna walk somewhere and run into a fucking Balrog today, I guess.
Or
like,
even, I mean, outside of the fucking mines where the Balrog is that big tentacle monster.
Exactly.
Just like,
As far as I know, have no affiliation to anything.
Yeah,
per se.
just
They're
a
just
monster.
like there's there.
so I mean, who knows what other? I mean,
Yeah.
because even in like the Hobbit, there's the giants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's just shit everywhere that sucks.
Yep.
And I can't imagine, even in times where you don't have Sauron with his orc army, there's just so much crazy shit around.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like anywhere would be a good place to live. You're gonna get fucked up by something.
Yep. Which is why everybody's like seems to be like fucking warriors or like all this shit like that. It's like, well, you constantly gotta be fighting shit.
Yeah.
I would much rather be a hobbit chilling in fucking Hobbiton doing nothing.
Right. I mean, we don't even really see because so the Shire's peaceful and Rivendell seems to be peaceful.
Yeah.
But where is even a peaceful place if you're a man? Where would like everywhere would suck for you too?
Yeah.
I guess maybe not during war times because maybe before Theoden was like corrupted, Rohan was like a cool place to live.
Sure.
But definitely not Minas Tirith because it looks fucking cool and there's a lot of people that live there. But they say that like, hey, Minas Tirith for years has been fighting off the people coming out of Mordor.
Because they're the closest people to Mordor.
Yeah. So that wouldn't be a good place to live.
I mean, I don't think Rohan would be great either. It's in the middle of fucking plains. It's like the least most secure place ever. Like,
Yeah.
why did that place exist?
Right.
I've always wondered this. Like, well, this is the shittiest kingdom ever.
Yeah, so I don't even understand why anybody would want to like live in Middle Earth.
No.
Unless you want to be a hobbit in the Shire,
Yeah.
or maybe an
No.
elf, specifically in Rivendell. Because
mean, the
other
dwarves-
elves live in shitty places.
I mean, in the Hobbit, we get to see a little bit. I mean, the Dwarves' kingdoms look pretty dope and look pretty well
that's
protected.
true. Yeah,
And I guess you do have the River Town would be pretty peaceful, I would assume. Till, of course, like, all that shit happened.
yeah, right. But
Because
even the dwarfs is like that shit seems good, but then you turn down the wrong cave and there's a fucking Balrog
That's
there.
true. That's true.
And they say like, well, it's because their greed made them go too deep.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, how were they supposed to know a fucking
The
fire
Balrog-
thing
yeah,
was
demon
there?
was there,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, anything else about just how the world kind of fucking sucks?
Nah.
Just again, none of that stuff is even close to Mordor.
No.
Let alone if you get close to fucking Mordor and there's fucking orcs and spiders and lava,
Exactly.
and all that shit.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, how did... Like, man, aside from ever not knowing, like, the Hobbiton or that existed, how did, like, Beast just not... I mean, I guess maybe they do and they wouldn't know about it, but like, how did Beast not fuck with Hobbiton? Like, how is there not, like, giant spiders or any other creature? Just,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that
let
seems
just
like
fucking-
so easy pickings.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess they just
Like,
are
with,
lucky.
with humans and stuff like that, whatever, it just makes sense, because, like, oh, they're not going to search for it. But with creatures that, like, need to prey on things, or, like, they're going to smell them or something.
Yeah, you think the hobbits would have been like wiped out because they're basically small defenseless creatures.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, sure, some of them maybe know some combat,
Right.
but for the most part, none of them do. They're like
No.
farmers and like more simple folk.
Yep.
So like they could be destroyed by basically fucking
Yeah,
anything.
literally anybody.
Anyways, let's talk about The Ring a little bit. The series is called Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's why.
So the thing I want to talk about mostly with The Ring is just that how it corrupts, like how it works, I guess. And I'm sure the books go into this like probably way more, and just the universe in general. But again, mostly looking at stuff from the movies. When we see Smeagol find it, in about 30 seconds after finding it, he decides he's going to murder his best friend.
Yeah.
Which is interesting just because it corrupts him so fucking fast. And again, I'm sure that's better for the movie. But like, he's supposed to be sort of... Is he actually a hobbit or is he just like a hobbit?
I know that the race of his is like a cousin who has two hobbits.
But you think that by that logic, he would be a little bit resilient to it?
Right.
But he's not. And maybe that's just because he I don't know, his mind...
And again, we don't ever specifically get told that hobbits are immune to it.
Mm-hmm.
It more or less seems like Frodo is just super resilient to it for some
Yeah,
reason.
well, and in the movies, I mean, Sam appears to be too.
Yeah, but
because-
in the cartoon version of it, and then like in the books, it doesn't seem that way so much.
Sure. And then Merry and Pippin, again, looking at the movies, I don't really
They're
know.
not around it very often.
Yeah, well, that's true, but neither was they were around it more than Boromir, and
Sure.
Boromir was, and I know he's a man,
Yeah.
but like he was corrupted like fucking instantly.
Yeah, and I think part of that too is just because like Merry and Pippin are one, the fucking Merry and Pippin. They're supposed to be really, really young.
Well, maybe it's because they're high. Do you think
I
if
think
you're
it's
high, like because Gandalf doesn't really have much issues with
That's
it.
true. Well, he doesn't want to take it though, because he said he would be tempted if he had touched it.
Sure, but maybe
And I think
he would have taken it if he wasn't high.
True. Because, like, I mean, Boromir's tempted by it too, but we also see Aragorn who isn't tempted by it, because Aragorn also does refuse it.
Yeah,
So I think it's more or less, it depends on how susceptible you are to power as a species and typically as a person. Because
Yeah.
Boromir knew the ring's power, and he was living in a kingdom that was in fucking shit.
Right.
Like, Aragorn was away from all this shit. He didn't give a fuck. But yeah, and I guess when Sam wanted it too, I mean, it was more or less because he wanted to help Frodo. Mm-hmm. So I guess at that point it was just like, and I think at that point too, maybe the ring was like up in its ante because it's just like it knows it's getting killed, so it's like I gotta fucking like really put it on now, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's something I was thinking about too. Is like maybe it just like as its power grew, it could like do more to certain people,
Or as it felt more and more threatened, too. It was like
Sure,
starts going,
yeah.
like, putting it on really hard.
But this made me think about when I was watching it, like if we had the ring, how fast we would be corrupted.
Almost instantly. Like,
And yeah, I agree.
When was I fucking touched it?
Yeah, I think like, and I don't even think I'm necessarily like a bad person, but
I
like,
don't think it means you're a bad person. It's just
Sure.
like, hey, I know myself. Like, if this ring corrupts people the moment I touch it, like, oops, game over.
yeah. If I even fucking look at that thing,
Yeah.
it's like, well, shit. I had kind of forgotten because it's been a little while since I had watched these movies. I remembered that they like smoke in them and like do smoke weed or whatever, but I forgot that they're not even subtle about it. In the Fellowship, when Bilbo and Gandalf sit down to smoke, Bilbo just straight up says like, "This is the finest weed in all of Baggett."
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Does he say exactly weed or is it some
he says weed.
Okay.
He says this is the finest weed.
All right.
And I thought I had forgotten that was how he worded it.
Yeah.
Because later on they do say like, "Oh, this is something root." And it's like, "Oh, okay, now they're being subtle." But
Yeah.
in the first movie, he's like, "Hey, Gandalf, this is the most dank weed we got here."
Yeah, for some reason I thought they said like tobacco weed or something like that, which is still fucking weed.
Right.
If I was some reason they tried to throw some fucking adjective on there, I forgot they just straight up say weed.
I just thought that was so funny because it's just like, I can't believe more people weren't like upset about that. You know, it came out in 2001. Not that
Sure.
I would.
I mean,
We
when
care.
you think about
but,
it,
like-
I mean, it's Middle Earth. It's a fucking fantasy land. Get over it, people.
Oh no, I agree.
No,
but
yeah,
I'm just surprised, because people flip out over
Sure.
people who are like super conservative. I'm sorry, people weren't like, my kids can't watch this because the wizard smoked weed.
But there's like no way that you can't have like hella chill hobbits and they're just not smoking weed all the time.
Oh yeah,
Because that's all they do. They just, I guess, farm. Like they have to for somehow farm.
Yeah.
But you rarely see people working.
right.
So I'm sure they do like the least amount of effort they have to possibly make food, and then they just fucking chill and like smoke weed all day.
and get drunk and
Yeah.
go to the bar. Hobbits, they gotta fuck a lot, right?
I don't know. They never really talk about it either, but
I don't know. Well, just based on like their lifestyle of like being like so chill and just down for whatever
Well,
and going
I mean,
and getting drunk all the time. You
Bilbo
think
never
they're-
had kids. Well, Frodo doesn't have kids. I mean, Sam definitely fucked.
Maybe the ring makes you impotent.
Ooh, that'd be pretty dope.
See, it's not all bad. There's advantages to being corrupted by evil.
Yeah, I think you got it. There's just no way. Because I'm sure like there's just thousands of...
Out of all the species, or not species, races in Lord of the Rings, what do you think fucks the most? Because I think there's one clear answer.
Do you?
I do. I think there is.
Okay.
One comes to my mind.
Well, my default answer is humans, just based off of...
Oh, yeah,
no
sure.
arguments.
Sure.
Yeah. What is your answer?
I was thinking dwarves.
See, I don't think they do. I think
Really?
like I said, I don't think dwarves fuck that much.
I don't know. Gimli just seems real horny.
I guess maybe, but like... Gimli rarely talks about women. And he only does once to mention that they also have beards.
Well, I guess he doesn't talk about dwarf women that much.
No.
But he, like, jerks off to Galadriel's hair.
Sure,
He's
but
like,
he also
I asked her for a hair from her head, and she gave me 2.
But I think it's more of like a funny bit of just like elves are supposed to hate, or dwarves supposed to hate elves, and he sees this one chick and is like, oh my god, it's the most beautiful chick ever. Which doesn't make sense, really. Like, the interracial things in this get really fucking weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like...
The Hobbit movies didn't help
Yeah,
by adding
'cause,
those
like,
new characters.
Assuming dwarfs, when they say dwarf women have beards, and that they look like the men, because they say that in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
that's what dwarfs are attracted to. But then he sees someone who looks super, super feminine, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, damn. So, like,
Right.
how would you go, like... I don't understand, like, how that works. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a whole deeper issue, but still. It's just,
Right.
like... But also, I think dwarfs just care more about just gold and, like, getting rich.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Because
I don't know.
men talk about women a lot. The hobbits, you never really hear hobbits talk... I mean, you got Samwise, who's real horny for that one girl.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's another thing, too, is, like, part of the show is, like, we look at the stuff that maybe didn't get addressed, and I think a lot of people, when they create fictional universes, don't want to talk about how horny characters are,
Sure.
because that's not really what they want to
We'll
write
talk
about.
Yeah,
But
I think
that's
this is
what we want to
interesting.
think about.
I'm kind of disappointed that we just never get to see. I mean, that's what I mean. They look like men, so maybe we did. You just never get to see female dwarfs in any of the movies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we don't really in the movies. You don't really see dwarfs that much at all.
No, in the Hobbit, you definitely do.
You see a lot more, but still not like a ton.
Well, you do in that last movie. You see quite a bit. There's a shit ton.
Oh, I forgot that they go to the whole battle thing.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I saw the last Hobbit movie. It was kind of a blur.
That's true. Yeah, but yeah, you really don't get to hang out with the dwarfs too much, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe not. I guess I was projecting more horniness onto Gimli than maybe he
I think
shows.
Gimli's horny, but I think Gimli's the exception to the rule.
Okay.
Because you also got to go to the Undying Lands. I think you have to be a certain level horny to go there.
That's true. Yeah, so I guess maybe it would be men. I still feel like hobbits would probably fuck a lot.
I think hobbits probably
I just think
do.
that it's one of those things that we don't really see, because why would Tolkien like write about how horny hobbits are? Nobody wants to write about
I'm just
that.
kind of going off of we're kind of shown that men are kind of greedy, lustful people, and the hobbits are just seen as being like so chill that like maybe they just don't care about it because they're just so fucking chill.
Right.
Like almost like it'd be too much work to even bother. They're like, well, how am I supposed to like smoke weed and drink my tea if I'm like fucking? If
That's
I'm
true.
down?
That's a good point. Maybe they're too relaxed.
They're
I was
like
thinking
relaxed.
they were chill and down to fuck, but maybe they're too chill.
They're chill too.
to
I think
fuck.
it might be too chill.
Hmm.
Too chill to fuck.
But we do see a few of them that seem to have a lot of kids. Like there's some
Yes.
families. So maybe
That's what I
there's.
was gonna say. I think
there's
once
some.
they marry, I think there might be a good honeymoon period where like they're banging all the
Sure.
time. Because I do also see them as a race that are like have like a shit ton of kids. Like they just have 1,000 kids.
Right. So yeah, let us know what you guys think the horniest race in Lord of the Rings is.
Maybe it's the Nazgul. Who knows? Maybe they like to bone down.
Maybe it's the Ents.
Maybe it's Gandalf. That's why Gandalf goes everywhere.
Ooh, maybe. Are we done?
Yep.
Was that a podcast that we just did? Yeah, so again, if we got a million facts wrong, let us know how dumb we are and how we don't know anything about Lord of the Rings, because we definitely don't. But if you have any thing to add to our discussion, or any questions that maybe we didn't get to, or if you want to let us know who the horniest race in Lord of the Rings is, maybe you actually have facts to back it up. If you're a big Tolkien head, what do they call fans of that? Is there like a fan term?
I'm trying to think of a funny like weed term that could also be like a Tolkien term.
Also, email us a funnier joke that we can come up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can email us at tsofpodcast@gmail.com. It stands for the Science of Fiction Podcast. tsofpodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at twitter.com/rats. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not already. youtube.com/rats. This podcast is on iTunes. All that shit. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Alien franchise. The new Alien movie just came out. We probably could have made this episode about Alien to coincide with that, but we definitely didn't fuck up and aren't trying to make up for it next time.
We don't want to be that on topic.
That's true. Then we're getting too close to a different podcast. So if you have any questions about Alien, that universe, and anything that stands out to you as being weird, email us, let us know, and we'll talk about it next time. I'm David.
I'm Dylan.
And we're done.
Tokers. Tokers would be the term you'd call Tolkien fans.
Ooh. J.R.R. Tokers.